Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for our March monthly construction and traffic impacts webinar today. We really appreciate you taking the time. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Wendy Thompson and I'm part of the Streetcar team. My job is to keep you all in the loop about what's happening with the streetcar project, especially when it might affect your daily commute or your neighborhood. I want to make sure you have the information you need and that you know you can reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I'd like to introduce you to the people who will be sharing information and answering your questions today. We have Steve Jensen, Deputy Chief of Staff for Economic Development in the Mayor's Office and Omaha Streetcar Authority Board member. Megan Walter from MUD Customer Engagement Manager. Steve Rue, Omaha Public Works Department, Capital Construction and Street Maintenance Engineer, and Mike True, Omaha Public Works Department, and he's also the Streetcar Project Manager. So now I'd like to turn it over to Steve Jensen.
Thanks, Wendy. So today we will go over the schedule. We'll talk about MUD gas relocation work that is underway in the corridor and what's to come with that. We'll talk about the vehicle maintenance facility, the West utility package where the work is underway presently in Midtown. Also the I-480 bridges. As you know, the Harney Bridge is down and being reconstructed. We'll talk a little bit about business support and then also construction communications. And finally, we'll spend some time for Q&A to answer some of the questions that have come in over the past month, but also those that you give to us on the call today. So next, the schedule. The work on Mecca Lot A, which is construction of a new entrance to Lot A to make room for the new vehicle maintenance facility, is underway. It will be complete with utility and paving work soon. Landscaping work will be done in the spring once we get past this latest snowstorm and get into some nicer weather. The Utilities West package, Turner Boulevard to 40th Street, as I mentioned, the first phases of that work are currently underway. We'll provide more detail on it on the call. The interstate bridges, as I said, Harney Bridge has come down, will be completed later this year. We'll give you an update on that. Vehicle maintenance facility, Sampson Construction, a contract has been approved. Work will begin on April 1st. They're currently working on coordinating laydown space and some other things in that area. The utilities package number 2, also known as Utilities East, that work will be put out to bid this spring. Work to begin in June and completed in December of 2026. The Turner Boulevard sewer improvements, where we have a very deep sewer that is going to have some work done. That'll be put out to bid later in the spring, and work will be scheduled to run from later in 2025 through 2026 or into 2026. Mainline construction, we're making progress on our contract negotiations with Kiewit. The work there on that system will begin in early 26 and run into 2027 so that it will be ready when the cars are delivered and we can begin testing on the vehicles. MUD gas relocation work is going to continue through into 2026. Megan will bring you up to speed on where we are today. And then finally, ongoing communications and fiber utility work will also continue throughout this period as the various communications companies relocate and realign their fiber and utility network. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Megan to talk about MUD.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Steve. So MUD crews we currently have 2 crews working along 10th from Douglas to Harney and in Harney west of 10th. Since the work is weather dependent, delays or changes in the schedule might happen due to weather conditions. But phase 3 is what we're currently working on right now. Parts 2 and 3 are being performed simultaneously to speed up the work. Most of this work is taking place down the middle of 10th and in Douglas east of 10th Street. Parts 2 and 3 should be completed within the next 2 weeks. The only planned gas shutdown will be to reconnect 2 customers' gas services near the work, and the shutdown will affect only those customers. MUD will soon be in contact with those two. After parts 2 and 3 are completed, the crew will move to part 4, which we anticipate starting the week of March 17th and will impact 8th Street traffic. More information on that will be coming soon. MUD's Phase 6 work is currently being performed on the south side of Harney between 10th and 12th Street. The installation crew is working on installing main in this 2-block area for another month, and then will continue west to the next 2 blocks. Another crew will start working with customers in this area to reconnect their gas services to the new main. These reconnects will include additional excavations along Harney. Customers can expect service work to start within 1 month and will include a short temporary gas service interruption for each service, but we will be in contact with each one of those customers. Thank you very much. I'll give it back to you, Steve.
Thanks, Megan. Now I'm going to hand it over to Mike True to discuss vehicle maintenance facility, and I guess the bridge, and then also to Steve Rue to discuss West utility work and the I-480 bridges.
Thanks, Steve. So the vehicle maintenance facility is going to be, see a rendering of it here. It's going to be down at the east end of this project, tucked underneath the I-480 bridges. Right now, there is work being done in that area, just immediately south of the CHI Center. That is a new entrance, so that way, as construction occurs down here, those who use that facility, and CHI also has some deliveries that come through there, that can continue uninterrupted. If you go to the next slide, we've got contract's been awarded. The contractor is set to mobilize April 1st of this year. That'll include some demolition of existing pavement, stripping some of the ground down there, removing some of the current features. They'll start by getting any grading work done, get in on the foundations and start building up. This will eventually house, as previously stated, vehicle operations and maintenance will occur here, along with any permanent Omaha Streetcar Authority personnel. It's slated to be completed by Q1 of 2027. Also around that same time is when we anticipate the first streetcars, which are being produced by CAF of Spain and mostly manufactured overseas, will start coming into this facility. That's what we got for now. Mr. Rue?
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Yep. So I'm going to continue talking about our utilities packages here, and then we'll go into the bridges. So we'll start here with the beginning of the West utilities package. This is the work that's been going on since January. So they're still working between Turner Boulevard and 33rd Street, installing water main. There's some sanitary work through here. Again, on this slide, we are maintaining that one westbound lane through this section of Farnham throughout. So that's still available. All the parking restrictions are still the same from last time. So all the parking there is being used either as storage, part of the project, or maybe it's there as a safety buffer. So if you are looking for some place to park through this area, there is the parking garage back on 33rd and Harney. So right here in the same area, it's a very short walk over to these businesses here. So feel free to use that. That is open. And then through this area, we still have sidewalk access open to all of these businesses. That's remained open the entire time. Will remain open while we're there. So you can still access every business north and south of Farnham through this section here, through the paths shown there. Moving on. So here we're kind of showing the upcoming full closure, the current full closure we have on Farnham, as well as the upcoming one. So currently Farnham is full closure at 36 to 37th Street. Hawkins is in there doing some deep sewer main replacement that did not allow us to maintain access through this section of Farnham for the project. This is anticipated to run through, I think, the 14th. I don't know. We got about 3 weeks of this work. So as this goes on, they're going to do this deep sewer main replacement here. When this work is done, they're going to then immediately flip around and do the full closure from 33rd to 34th Street. So again, this section will open and immediately 33rd to 34th Street will then go into a full closure. For that section, we're rebuilding some deeper sewer manholes that again just don't allow us to maintain traffic access during that time. If we go to the next slide here, we can kind of show some of the work and some of the restrictions we have through this area right now, from 35th Ave through 37th Street. So again, 36th, 37th, full closure through March 14th, shown here on the slide. We also currently, now that it is the 5th, you can see some different dates there in the alleys north of Farnham. There's some phased access, phased closures through there to do some power duct bank work that's back there. Any access to garages, things like that has been worked out with the adjacent property owners, but that's expected to be closed. There was a planned power outage for yesterday, last night, that did not occur, thanks to the activities the weather that we all saw. So that is now being pushed out to Friday from 4 to 8. Only the businesses north of Farnham are on that. If you are affected by that, you have been contacted already. OPPD will contact you again to make you aware of that. So only those affected, they should already know about that closure there, or about that outage there. So that's where we're at with those, with utility packages. For the bridges, as Steve talked about at the beginning of the webinar, Harney Bridge is down, which is great. That work was originally planned for 2 weekends. Hawkins was able to complete it in 1 weekend, actually slightly shorter than that. I think 480 was open late Sunday night. We thought maybe that would go into Monday morning. So that's great. That bridge is down. So now Hawkins is moving on to the construction of the new bridge. So right now they're out driving pile for the abutment. They have some pier removal work going on out in the middle of 480. So there are some lane restrictions right through this section here right now. There's some barricades out there. So that's where we're at with the bridge. There is some continued power duct bank work on Park Ave, but there has been a lane open, reestablished for a few weeks now. That's still open. That work continues for a few more weeks, I believe, till that's complete. But that's kind of where we're at with the bridges. Just moving forward with that. Should be complete end of this year. And I'll give it back to Steve.
All right. Thanks, Steve. So we understand the difficulties that the construction is causing and can cause for folks in the corridor and visitors. But there are a number of things that we're trying to do to support the businesses in the area. And so to just kind of quickly give an overview of that, we have worked on some overall communications. We give construction updates on the OSA website, omahastreetcar.org. We give interactive map on the website with up-to-date information by neighborhood, so you can click on the map and find out what's happening in your area. There's a frequently asked questions section on the OSA website, weekly construction update email newsletters, monthly construction update webinars like this. There, as Wendy said, she's always available for contact if you have an individual question that she can help you with. As far as accessibility, we have made sure that we've maintained traffic through the area, except for those 2 shutdowns that Steve just talked about. And we are trying to limit the work to these 3 to 4 block segments for about a 3 to 4 month period for each one. When that work is going on, then in that segment, the other segments are open and work is not going on. So we've tried to limit the extent of the work at any given point in time. During the construction, those construction zones will remain open to one-way westbound traffic. Sidewalk access, as Steve said, to the businesses will be maintained at all times. Delivery access and coordination also left available so people can get their deliveries. Outside the construction zones, we'll maintain the multiple travel lanes, and then east of Turner Boulevard, and then 2-way traffic in Midtown and Blackstone, except in the areas where the construction is going on. We've put in a lot of directional traffic signage, but also pedestrian directional signs along the route. When it comes to parking, we're maintaining access to all the off-street parking in the construction zones. We're also maintaining unobstructed on-street parking outside the construction zones. And as work continues in Midtown, the contractor has made an effort to leave some on-street parking open where possible. That will not always be possible, but when they can, they've tried to do that. The city's parking division is continuing to work on their parking partners program that will open area parking that is being used by businesses during the day and open that parking nights and weekends. We've also leased the property on the northeast corner of 40th and Harney for the construction of a temporary parking lot. So that lease has been signed. We're working now on getting the design for the parking lot and getting that construction set up. We're also working on a plan to make the first 2 hours free for parking in the new Blackstone garage. I think that may have been announced today. When it comes to business promotion, we've added business advertising and support signage throughout the corridor. Business wayfinding signage has been installed as well. Banners and storefront window posters have been placed along the route. Business promotion and advertising has been added to the OSA Streetcar newsletter. So there are a lot of things that we're working on. Wendy's going to cover some of the work that she's doing with regard to communications. So I'll turn it over to Wendy.
Thank you, Steve. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, or maybe you're new to these webinars, we started doing these monthly webinars the first Wednesday of every month at noon. We understand this time does not work for everyone, which is why we record these sessions and post them on our website. You'll have to register each time to receive a new link each month. If you've registered for this one or any of our past webinars, we'll send you an email reminder before the next webinar to help you sign up. If you can attend live, we want you to please fill out the form and submit any construction and traffic questions you have so we can address them on the webinar still. Next month, we plan to do a deep dive into the upcoming work on phase 2 of the West Utilities package and what you can expect as work shifts to the west on Farnham Street. This is an incredibly complex project, so we're trying to make it information as accessible as possible for you. We send a weekly email with all the key work areas and project updates, just like in this example. Please sign up to receive these updates on our website. We have also developed a GIS-driven map. It lets you zoom right into your neighborhood or where you work and see exactly how you might be affected. It's updated frequently, so you'll always have the latest information. And finally, if you have immediate concerns or would like more information from the project team, please contact me by phone or email. So now let's begin the Q&A session with questions that were sent in, but we haven't answered yet as we went through our presentation. We'd like you to add them to our Q&A module, and we will bring them up as they come up on the screen. So Mike, let's begin with the first question, which was about whether there would be charging ports on the streetcars or at the stops.
There's not going to be any charging ports on the streetcars themselves or at the stops.
Okay. And then how many stops will be on the streetcar route?
There's going to be a total of 13 side stops where the streetcar pulls up and you can only get out to one side. There's also going to be 3 middle stops where that'll be along the portion where utility work is occurring now, west of Turner. There's going to be 3 locations where both the stop will be in the center of the road, and the streetcar, as it passes either west or east, will utilize it. So 16 total stops. The streetcar itself will stop a total of 19 times because the 3 that are in the middle, it stops on each side, if that is what they're looking for.
Thank you. Our next question, well, our next 2 questions were about specific areas in downtown that may have impacts. And do you want to talk about why we can't exactly give the information quite yet about those
Sure.
locations?
So it looks like, so first off, if you're at a specific location, I'm seeing one that says the Trio building. We can try to set up an individual time to reach out to stakeholders and answer what questions they have. The other one says it's the Omaha Marathon for late September, September 28th. As it was mentioned by Steve, the Utilities East package is supposed to start sometime this summer, and we don't have that under contract yet. items like this, we've been working with various entities, whether it be Mecca, for instance, things down at the park, or Omaha Marathon. We've made contact with them, and we have several that we know are going to need to be incorporated into that schedule. But until we have a contractor on board and we can better understand how the workflow will go best, we're not going to be able to say for certain how that will or won't impact any of this. So it's going to be a few months. The goal would be that at one of these, give you at least a couple months heads up, and also have direct outreach with any of these entities, whether it be a particular stakeholder building along the way, or if there's any particular event going on that we also need to coordinate with. But we can't give it exact specifics at this time because we don't have someone who we can point to and say they're the responsible party for that timeline yet. Once we have someone under contract, we'll start hammering out that schedule and then share it with this group.
Thank you for that explanation. Unless any other questions or comments come in, this will be our final question. So during the process of upgrading the MUD lines, how will issues found with the buildings along the line be communicated and addressed? Megan, would you like to address that for gas relocation? And then Steve, Rue, you could address that maybe for the water main?
Sure. For gas relocation, we will be sending out emails to those customers that we have. And so if we don't have your email address on file, please get in touch with us, and you can call our customer service line at 402-554-6666. So yes, we will be sending emails to all of our customers on the line and doing everything that we can to try to get a hold of you so that we can communicate any outages or any way that it's going to affect you.
Yeah, similarly for any sanitary sewer disruptions, any kind of service impact like that, our staff, either our consultant staff, our city staff, the contractor, depending on the situation, somebody will reach out and make sure that you're aware of that outage before it happens. We typically would utilize door hangers, and then especially in the case of any business, anything like that, where we can get a phone number or an in-person contact, we definitely make sure to try to follow that route just to make sure that people are aware beforehand and not caught off guard.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for the great questions. For questions we were not able to address on this call, I will contact you at the registration email you provided when you signed up, specifically those scheduled questions for this fall. We'll definitely follow up on those. So thank you for attending, and we hope you can join us next month to learn about more upcoming construction and traffic impacts.
Thank you all for your time.